Welcome to Taken. We got Liam Neeson driving a Nissan. It's a Nissan. He's buying a karaoke machine to give to his daughter for her 17th birthday because she always wanted to be a singer. He's trying to be more present in her life to make up for lost time because he was a very absent father, always away working. So he goes over to her birthday party to give her this gift at a mansion because his workaholic dumbass let himself to have a divorce with his wife. He was being a real bitch about it, honestly, and she's now married to this rich dude called fucking Clint or something. Hence they are here. His daughter gets a gift and she's very happy about it. She gives him a hug, but then fucking rich new husband guy gifts her a fucking horse. Fucking rich people. So Liam goes home and has sad divorced fuck times looking at pictures of his daughter and shit. Then his old work buddies come along for a barbecue. He's retired now to try and spend more time with his daughter, as I said before, but they all used to be government spies or something like that. And I think they're all sort of done with government work, but are still doing private security gigs or whatever, and they keep trying to convince him to come back and work with them on that stuff. And he agrees to do one small job with them tomorrow where they're bodyguarding. Can I use that as a word? Fuck, who cares? They're gonna do security for this one young singer. Sam, his buddy, says it's gonna be a piece of cake, easy job, easy money, no killing at all. Brian is on board. Tomorrow arrives and they're doing security for this young Celine Dion bitch. Brian is in her prep dressing room place and he has a chance to ask her for any advice on how to become a singer for his daughter, but she just like tell her to suck a lot of music producer dick. Not really what she said, but if the music industry is anything like the acting industry, then that statement is not really that far off. Anyway, while Shakira's not lying with her hips on stage, they get a quick break and Brian gets a call from his daughter telling him she wants to meet him tomorrow for lunch. He's jubilated with that news. Then after Miley Cyrus finishes her performance on stage, they get back to doing the security. Her fans break in backstage and try to mob her, so they take Taylor Swift action to get her out of there. Brian takes her to her car and stops a stabbing attempt on the way. They get into the vehicle and drive off. She cries on his shoulder because she's scared. And later at the hotel or her house, she calls him in to thank him for what he did and apologize for being a c*** earlier. Then gives him a card for his daughter. She's like, if she really wants to be a singer, this is the number of my vocal coach and my manager. I'll pay for all the fees and I'll make sure there will be no fellatio. They thank each other. Next day he meets Kim, that's his daughter's name, and his ex-wife comes along as well. Kim reveals that she wants to go to Paris with her friend Amanda. They're gonna stay with Amanda's cousins in their apartment and look at a bunch of museums and shit, but they need his written approval for her to leave the country because she's not 18 yet. And he doesn't want her to go because he thinks it's too dangerous. And his ex goes, what's so dangerous about Paris? F***ing everything. Yeah, it's not the fucking Ukraine-Russia border, but it's still not as safe as you think, dumbass whore. Anyway, Kim is very sad he won't sign the paper, so later on he goes to the mansion with the signed paper to give her consent to fly to fucking Paris. But with many conditions like call me when you land, call me when you move, blah 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 blah. Here's an international phone with my number. Always call me whenever you make a move. She's like,
thank you, Daddy, so much. Of course, I'll call you all the time.
She's very happy and gives him a big hug, then goes to get ready. Then the mom comes along like, wouldn't it have been easier to just sign the paper the first time? So he goes,
wouldn't it have been easier if you and I had talked about it first?
Ooh, bitch. That's right. Good one, man. High five. No, we just walking? Okay, it's fine. Fuck you, bitch. He drives Kim to the airport. When they get there, she meets Amanda while he gets her bags and sees her travel plans with a map of Europe detailing that she's going to do a Euro trip following around this band. This was a time before Google Maps and smartphones, so this was a normal thing to do. He confronts her mother about this lie of her just staying in France, and she tells him that she knew about this lie and about the whole Euro trip thing. They just didn't tell him because he would definitely refuse that. So he tells her that her now rich ass forgot how dangerous the world could be, but she tells him that he has to stop smothering her and let her go discover the world. He agrees and they send her off to Paris, land of deodorant overuse and a big fucking telephone pole. They land and immediately at the airport a French fuck starts rizzing them up, offers to take a picture of them using their phone and asks them if they want to share a cab together because cabs are so expensive, and dumbass Amanda agrees. They get dropped off at her cousin's place and the fucking blonde bongo head retard who never learned about stranger danger keeps telling him how it's her cousin's place and they're out of town so they have the whole place to themselves, and agrees on the behalf of both of them to go out partying with him that night. Bitch has a fucking degree in Japanomics. Why don't you give him the code to the fucking building as well, bitch? Maybe share your social security number with him and a cute little picture of both sides of your credit card, you stupid slut. Listen, I'm not gonna say that dumb rich bitches deserve to get kidnapped and shit. All I'm gonna say is natural selection, okay? That's all. They go up to the apartment and Kim is kind of annoyed at Amanda for not telling her that her cousins are out of town and that she agreed to go out with Peter, the stranger that they just met, because that's mad sketch behavior. Then the dumb slut starts playing music and doing white girl shit while Brian calls Kim like, why you not call while you land? And she like, I'm so sorry. He like, put the cousins over there on the phone. She like, they're not here, I'm so sorry. She goes into the bathroom to avoid the music, and because it's one of them fancy apartments with windows you can look through and see into the same fucking apartment, she sees her orangutan friend dance around and people walk in to try and kidnap her. Succeed in it. She sees that ensuing struggle and tells it to her father in a fright. So he tells her to go hide in the nearest bedroom and asks her if she met anyone for this at the airport, and she tells him that she met this random guy called Peter. He whips out his old spy gadget stuff and starts recording the phone call. Tells her that if she gets taken, she needs to yell out all distinctive markers and features about the kidnappers that she can find and see. Then a few people walk into the bedroom she's in looking for her. They're talking, so her dad asks her to put the phone closer so he can hear, which they should have heard, honestly, because, you know, especially in dead quiet rooms like this, phone speakers are not really that quiet. Anyway, they don't hear, and the two people in front of her walk out, and she stupidly does the classic mistake of immediately talking as soon as they leave. It doesn't really matter if they would have heard her or not, because there's a third guy still in the room, and he definitely heard her and starts pulling her out from underneath the bed. Her father hears her scream and struggle and yelling out things about the guy, like there's a moon tattoo on his arm, 6 foot, blah blah blah, stuff like that. The call goes quiet, and then he hears the breathing of the kidnapper on the phone, and Brian delivers the classic line that everybody knows. I don't know who you are, I don't know what you want, I can tell you I don't have any money, but what I do have is a very specific set of skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you, I will not pursue you, but if you don't, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will kill you. It was something like that, but without the stupid Seth MacFarlane Kermit voice. The guy on the other end just responds with good luck and smashes the phone, so Brian goes over to a rich guy and ex-wife's house to ask if the rich guy has any enemies overseas, and looks through Kim's room to find any clues or anything that can help him. Then asks this guy, fucking Paul or whatever, I forgot his name again, to go get him a private jet right now to Paris. While he does that, Brian gets a call from Sam, his old spy buddy, who analyzed that phone call he recorded and found out a buttload of information for him. He found out the language they spoke, the accents, where they're from, and even the name of the guy he spoke to, who's called Marco. He's in an Albanian gang in France that specializes in kidnapping and trafficking women, and he has about 96 hours from the time she got kidnapped to find her, because after that, the chances of him finding her are close to nada. So he flies over to Paris and sneaks into the apartment. They were, wait a minute, none of his super skilled spy friends come with him? Wow, great friends. Anyway, he sneaks into the building and breaks into the apartment, goes through all the stuff and sees all the damage and all the struggle evidence, sniffs and snoops around for clues, tries to relive events from Kim's POV, and if you pause right here, the glass makes Liam Neeson do a very funny face, which is super unimportant. Anyway, he finds evidence of a struggle in the bedroom and a smashed up phone that he gave his daughter. He takes the SD card from that and looks through the pictures that are on it till he finds a reflection of some dude taking a picture of both the girls and figures out that that's Peter, the guy she talked about. Goes over to the airport to find him raising up another blonde girl and convinces this mega mongoloid bitch retard to get into a cab in 10 seconds. I hope to God this woman's only this dense for the movie's sake. Anyway, Liam grabs a dude and beats him up in the cab a bit, asking about his daughter. Cab driver gets spooked and runs away. Peter's teammate comes along and tries to help him, but Bri handles him in a jiffy, then sees Peter run away, so he hops in the car and follows him. A little French dude parkours off a bridge onto the fucking truck, then gets thrown over by another truck, and Brian is so sure that he's dead he just moves on. Maybe he checked, I don't know. But he moves on to see an old French colleague that is no longer a field agent. Instead, he sits behind a big desk now to see some sort of big tuna in the French police department. Brian tells him what the go is fucking on, that his daughter is kidnapped and he needs information about this Albanian gang, Jean-Claude without the Van Damme. Gives him information about where he's most likely to find them doing criminal activities and tells him to try and not make that big of a mess while he goes off. Then assigns someone to go follow him around. Brian then acquires himself an Audi and a Albanian translator named Gregor, pays him for 10 hours of his service and tells him to wait in the car while he goes to chat up some street corner whore for her slut services. But he's not really, he's just trying to annoy them and interrupt their business long enough for the pimps to come along and deal with him or scare him away, which they do, and he pretends to be a wussy pussy bag of jelly cum. I don't know what the fuck that means, I just made that up, but he doesn't put up a fight and instead lets him roughen him up and puts a bug on him. Guy lets him go, gets back into the Merc, and he goes back into the Audi, tells Gregor to start translating everything the Albanian people say in the Merc. He's like, I don't understand, just translate. They're talking about sausages and football, now they're talking about going to a construction site and dealing with fresh merchandise that's giving him issues. And that's all I need, goodbye. He takes an English to Albanian dictionary from him and leaves, presumably following the Merc that goes to the construction site they were talking about, and sneaks into this shack disguised as a worker where he finds out that the workers are getting paid with sex, or it's like an easy access benefit, like fucking free dental or some shit, you know what I mean? This shack is split up with curtains into sex partitions, and he keeps checking each partition for his daughter until he finds her jacket, gets the guy on top of the girl, off of the girl, finds out it's not his daughter. He keeps asking her where she got the jacket from. Here's an idea, you stupid Neanderthal. How about you check all other partitions instead of jumping to the conclusion that the jacket's the only thing you're gonna find? Whatever. She's too shit-faced on whatever drug they have her hooked on to give a proper answer to this. Some guards come in to beat Brian up, but he Uno reverse cards at them very loudly with guns and stuff, which attracts all the other guards to him while he's loading the bitch up into his car and making a getaway attempt. And I can excuse most bad guy stormtrooper aim, but this guy literally does 2 donuts in front of them, knocking these cans of flammable liquid over, then another can that's on fire to light that flammable liquid on fire. And although he's being showered with lead, neither him nor the girl even get a flesh wound. But fucking whatever. 3 cars chase him and he tricks one off this cliff and is seen in one shot almost mounting it, and then another shot he's not. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that because whatever. Stupid overblown movie action sequence. Who cares? Gets rid of the second car, then tricks the third one into this big shovel tractor thing. I forget its name, but I'm pretty sure you know it. Here it is. Also runs through a trailer to further disrupt their operations, I guess, and then runs a red light to escape a car that he noticed was following him. Then switches cars just to be safe and gets to an old safe house hotel where he nurses the drugged up girl back to health with IV bags full of the good stuff, you know, like, I don't know, liquids, electrolytes, fucking Gatorade. He then gets a call from Jean-Claude telling him, we need to duck. And next day he gives another call telling him to meet him in a park, but Liam knows better than that because he knows that he wants to grab him and, like, export him. Export him? Export him as PDF. It was the extradite? No, that's not the word. Fuck. Give me a second. Import. Deport! He wants to deport him. Yeah, so Jean-Claude tells him that he's done enough damage already. He killed a few people, other people in hospital. He destroyed a building, and yeah, Jean-Claude sits at a big desk, but he takes his orders from a guy sitting at a bigger desk. French government will pay him a ticket back to the US if he leaves right now and they won't arrest him and do anything to him. But they do want him gone at once, which is evident by the fact that they're tracing the call and they trace it up to a rooftop, but they only find a phone perched up next to a walkie-talkie, which is using to make this phone call, with him saying, I'm not leaving without my daughter, and...
There was a trailer, not a building.
Hey, that's my job. Speaking of which, how did he initiate that phone call or answer it if that was the case, then set up the walkie-talkie next to it, then run over to another rooftop, I'm assuming? Did he tell Jean-Claude Van Eer to hold on a second? Wouldn't that have made it suspicious? Also, on the topic of that French retard, why didn't he just trace his location in that first phone call when he told him that we need to talk? What a moron. Anyway, Brian evades the French police's sussy baka behavior and gets back to the hotel with the girl waking up, and he asks her again about the jacket. She tells him that she got it from a girl in a house with a red door on a street or block with a name that has the word paradise in it, which is all shit she remembers while she was being kidnapped there. He locates that house and goes inside, and here's what happens as far as I understand it. Brian figures out that the cops are getting bribed by the Albanian gang to keep them safe, not arrest them and turn a blind eye to all their illegal activities that they're doing, and probably also protect them from Brian right now. So he enters the house with a red door and finds a couple of bad guys, pretends to be Jean-Claude Van Dipshit with a card that the real Jean-Claude gave him earlier. The retard bad guys don't ask for a badge or proof proof or anything and just trust that this guy with an American accent has a very French name and is a very important high up guy in the French police, or was at least sent by him or something like that. Anyway, they let him up. He meets the rest of the gang and he keeps scaring them with talk about satellites watching them and cops surrounding the place, telling them that he'll arrest them if they don't give him more protection money. I assume, because he keeps saying we're going to increase the rates, so I assume that's what he means by that. All the while he's intimidating them. He notices all the moon tattoos on their arms and all the other distinguishable features his daughter called out while she's being kidnapped. Then they get sufficiently scared and convinced that he is a cop and he's increasing the rates on them. They give him some money and he hands one of the guys a note in Albanian to translate for him. The guy laughs and says it translates to good luck. Brian recognizes the way he says it and says, I told you I'd find you. Then starts 1v fucking 85ing them. He knocks that guy out, flips the table over and stabs a bunch of people, then uses their guns to shoot them. Lots of shooting happens. And after he goes through the rest of the house, killing every single bad guy he can find, making sure it's empty, he starts searching the house for his daughter, finding only wasted, drug-addicted girls chained up to beds. And none of them are Kim, but he does find Amanda. She, however, is dead and overdosed on ketamine or whatever they gave her. Very sad stuff, but he just moves on to torturing that guy he knocked out in the beginning for more information about his daughter. Not sure how much of this I can show on YouTube without getting demonetized, but we finna find out. He ties him up to a chair, slams a couple nails into his knees, hooks some wires from the power grid to them. Even so, he spits in his face and refuses to give him any information about his daughter. But as it turns out, the French power grid can be very persuasive, and after a few zaps, he tells him that since his daughter is a virgin, that makes her very valuable, so they sold her off to some guy called Patrice Saint-Clair, and he swears to him that's all the information he has on her. And Brian's like, I believe you, but I don't care. Flips the switch and leaves him to die via makeshift electric chair, and goes over to have a surprise dinner with Jean-Claude and his wife, who tucks his kids in and grabs a secret gun from the bathroom, sits down for dinner with Brian going, must be nice tucking your kids in knowing they're safe in their beds at night. While dude's wife is oblivious to what's going on, he tells him that he got to the bottom of stuff and he hopes that he isn't involved in any of this shit, and she's like, what shit? So Jean-Claude Van Toilet pulls out the gun and aims it at Brian, who's one step ahead of him because he found that gun, emptied it of all the bullets, throws them in his face and pulls out his own gun, shoots his wife in the arm. Jean goes, sale cup, connard! Shut the baguette up, you filthy motherfucker, and tell me who Saint-Clair is. French fuck obliges and searches his computer for that name and he finds information about it, gives it to him. Brian knocks the guy out and goes to the address he just got, which turns out to be a rich person party that Patrice Saint-Clair is hosting. He gets in with Jean's police badge that he put his face over, follows Patrice into some private back rooms by doing some hitman shit, and by that I mean he beats up the elevator guard, shoves him into a broom closet, knocks out this champagne dude, pretends to be him, knocks out this other guard that came out of this room, and then goes into that room still pretending to be champagne dude. I'm gonna assume he put these last two dudes he knocked out into the same broom closet, because if he didn't, that'd be really dumb. Anyway, he's in that room now, and it turns out to be a place where rich people buy white women in a bidding war, and he's in a partition with a dickhead Arab dude in it. Then the last quote-unquote item comes out as he pours Abdul the champagne and finds out that it is his daughter, so he pulls the gun out and tells him to buy her. He keeps smashing that buy button like he's a senile gambling addict in Vegas till they buy Kim for $500,000 schmeckles, aka dollars, or maybe euros, doesn't really matter. He starts to walk out with the Arab dude to collect his daughter, but then immediately gets knocked out because I guess the organizers saw him on the cameras doing hitman shit and caught up to him. He wakes up in a side room cuffed to a fucking tube overhead with guards all around him, and Patrice Saint telling his guards to kill him quietly after he found out why he's here. And as he leaves, one of the guards wraps a belt around Brian's neck, but he uses brute force to break off one of the flimsy hangers that the pipe was hanging off of, which smacks one of the guards on the head, and he like opens the valves that releases gas into this other guy's face and headbutts the other guy behind him. Takes all three of them out while his hands are cuffed. The last guy he kills with his own gun, walks out, kills another guy, shoots Patrice a bit while yelling at him, where is she? And keeps shooting at him until he gets an answer, and that answer is that they're taking her to a boat by the gay. He's gotta be way more specific than that. I'm sure there's many gay people in Paris. Also, how do you even park a boat by it? Oh, the K. The K. The fuck's a K? Doesn't matter. He unloads the rest of the gun to Patrice and walks out the building and finds the Arabs shoving his daughter into a car and driving off. He tries to run after them, but Daddy Longlegs is not fast enough and they get to the boat by the homosexual, put the girls on the boat and start sailing away. So he keeps running towards the car, gets to it, knocks out the driver, gets in it and uses it to chase down that boat, driving alongside the river, weaving in and out of oncoming traffic like a madman till he gets on top of a bridge that the boat is going to pass under, and he jumps off that bridge onto that boat, knocking out a guard, and begins a rampage of killing every single guard he sees on his way to find Kim. Not much to say here other than that. His stealth mission becomes a loud mission with lots of gunshots. All the fucking bad guys have a chronic, pungent case of the potato aim. He still gets hurt a bit by mainly fighting Abdul, the fucking bidding guy, but he still kills him and finds a fat rich dude who's the leader holding a knife to his daughter's throat. How does this lard ass know which girl is his daughter? I mean, he like bought 3 girls, right? And Abdul told him that the father's here to get his girl. He didn't tell him which girl it was. Maybe someone else would though, doesn't matter. He shoots the fat oil sheikh, hugs his crying daughter, they embrace for a really long time in the open doorway. How's this guy so confident that he killed every single guard on his boat and that they're safe enough to do this? There's no way. He should give her a peck on the cheek at most and then go old Navy SEAL hostage extraction mode on her till he's sure they're safe. Anyway, they fly back home, Kim reunites with her mom, and Brian takes her to get singing lessons from Anal Del Rey. This movie gets 10 Nissan Micras out of 10 Louis Vuitton pantyhose. Ziz. Yeah.